Welcome to Our Road to Success, the podcast where we chronicle our journey through this mad roadmap to the American dream. My name is Iggy Kid. I'm a professional freelance voiceover actor, musician, and writer, coming to you with my co-host,
Christian Hansen.
We have sound effects now.
All right. Fuck yes.
That's what I've set up.
I'm not supposed to swear. I'll get into that later, but
right.
Heck yes. Flip
yeah,
yes.
I got a few here. Let me give you some some random ones here.
Sensor beep.
What do we got? Oh, crap, what do we got here? Oh yeah.
I'm not allowed.
We got
smoke weed every day.
What's like the most obnoxious sound you have on there?
Oh crap.
Besides the air horns.
Shoot, which one? No. Not that one. No.
Not that one. That one's too obnoxious.
That's the one.
What the?
Good times.
Oh my god. That kind of reminds me, there's this one podcast, I can't remember the fucking name of the podcast. I just swore again. I can't remember the freaking name of the podcast.
Uh-huh.
But like, I swear, it's like they get sound effects for the first day. And it's like, they're originally supposed to talk about like politics and stuff like that, but they ended up spending the entire hour just playing with sound effects and laughing their asses off. And God, I can't stop swearing. Ugh.
Yeah, let's see.
Bad.
Oh yeah, I got this one.
Oh, baby, it's triple.
The classic.
Yeah.
The classic.
Good stuff.
My personal favorite, though, is Mommy, get the camera, Mommy!
Oh yeah, I got that.
Oh! What the fuck is the screaming in the background?
There we go. I just realized
Still
they're
there?
pretty quiet, so I'll probably have to bump that up in post.
Alright.
Yeah, so we have sound effects now. Kind of skipped your intro, but they know you're Christian Hansen now, at least.
Yes, they know I'm Christian Hansen, and they know I like sound effects, so that's all they need to know.
Yeah, so, we're doing this. We kind of took a week off, more or less, because my anniversary was last week, so everything got kind of janked around because of that, but...
Yeah, and last week was a crappy day to record a podcast, considering current events anyway.
Yeah.
It would have been a weird podcast of us probably just watching the news and then just being all like, oh, god damn it.
Oh, God, everything that's happened lately. It's nonsense.
It's funny, because that's been, like, my entire week has been all like, oh, god, I need to do something, but the freaking news! Man, I can't look away. And then the second I think something, like, not horrible happens, I'm like, okay, I can finally turn it off. And then it's like, oh, nope, terrorist attack, nope. And I'm like, oh, gosh, dang it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Horrible week on that end. But last week was fine, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. So, want to get into the show?
Yeah, I also had another thing. I found out lately, since we talk about the Wolf of Wall Street a ton, I was reading, I can't remember, some list article, but it pointed out that Stratton Oakmont, the stock brokerage that Jordan Belfort created, there was another movie based on that back in like the 90s called Boiling Point. And so there was a character who was, I think he was called Michael Bentley, but he was basically Jordan. And one of the main characters in it was played by Vin Diesel.
I remember hearing about that movie, and there's a scene of it online, and God, this is probably going to sound pretty bad, because I'm sure the movie's really good, but from the scene I saw, I was like, this is like they took the insanity of Wolf of Wall Street, but they, like, dumbed it down.
Well, yeah,
it's not as greedy, and as bad as the sound, it's not as fun.
From what I understand, it's actually, like, towards the ending, they actually have, like, a change of heart and are just like, we can't keep screwing people over like this, and then they give the money back to everybody.
That is so not like Wall Street.
No, not at all. But I mean, it was like the 90s, and it was supposed to be like a heartwarming tale of bad people realizing they could do
Heartwarming
good.
tale of fucking Wall Street. Like,
Yeah.
what the... Even the dog is growling over here, and it's like, that is BS. Yeah, don't you agree that's fucking bullshit?
Yup.
Tell me all about it. These aren't my dogs, by the way. I'm currently house sitting. I actually got myself a really nice microphone that was subsequently chewed up by these two.
Ah, really?
So, yes. What it was I was playing around with it on the couch. And then I
Right?
was like, oh, fuck yeah, man. I get this microphone. It's going to be so great when I get to do things. And then I leave the house to, like, go to the store or something like that. And then I come back, and, like, one of them has, like, the entire thing in his mouth. And then the other one has, like, the cord just, like, ripped up into shreds on the floor.
Man.
I was like, fuck! Although I can't, like, blame them. I mean, they're dogs. They don't know any better.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably get it like replaced at this point. It's probably like soon enough.
I mean,
Still.
it probably was, but I also kind of threw it out, and it's already trash. People already picked it up, so I'm gonna fucked on that number there. So I need
Fair
to
enough.
stop swearing, and I'll get into this in the show, but like,
Yeah.
it's so fucking hard to not swear.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you get into the habit of it. So, getting into this, let's go on to an update on our weekly goals and ongoing projects. Christian, if you'd like to start, it looks like you have quite a few.
Yeah, I do have quite a few. So last week was kind of interesting. I mentioned the last podcast. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna actually do stuff, and I did. And the week started off with me actually reading a freaking Goosebumps book for once.
Yeah.
I read Beast of the East,
Good stuff.
and it was like the greatest. It wasn't the greatest thing I ever read, but it was like, oh, it was amazing. It was like the most corny thing imaginable, but it was like so enjoyable because of it. I was like, oh my god, I love this.
Exactly.
Pat or like what was the girls' brothers' names, like Pat and Nat or something?
I haven't read it since I was a kid. I couldn't tell you.
Well, they are fucking assholes though.
Oh yeah, there's always the jerk kid. It's always like the cool kid and the dork kid and the jerk kid, and they'll all be there, and then depending on the book, only one of them is the main character, but it usually shifts around. So
they're like both dorks though, and it's like they both don't do anything other than just cause trouble for like the main character.
Exactly.
I can't remember her name. Chris, I can't remember it at all now. But I was like, at first I was reading this and I was like, oh my god, someone kill Nat. Just kill. Like I was literally saying that at like 12 o'clock in the night. I was like, oh my god, kill Nat, kill Nat, kill Nat. And then all of a sudden, Nat disappears, and I was like, oh my god, yes! Oh, and then they had to save Nat at the end of it, and I was like,
yeah, you can't let a kid die in a book.
Yeah, even if he's just some jerk who just sits there playing his Game Boy and doesn't give a crap about his family who's about to die.
I mean, not the family about to die part, but I've been there.
Been there, just playing your Game
just
Boy.
Focus on the Game Boy.
I've been there too. I've been there too. I actually, gosh, I shouldn't say this because it's horrible, but I'm going to do it anyway. There once was a time when a family member, who was, I wouldn't say super close, but just definitely like a family member was dying. I was just going through a lot of stuff, and I remember when I was being told this, I was just like, okay, okay, because I was too busy playing like frickin' Sonic Advance.
Oof.
On my Game Boy. And I was like, okay. And it wasn't only until like, I think a week after this person died that I was like, oh shit. They're fucking dead.
Yeah.
Whoops. I feel like a jerk. Like I was like 8 years old, I think, so doesn't make it any better. But anyway, so outside of Goosebumps, it was kind of cool. So I got a bunch of art and stuff done. I haven't uploaded it yet because I've just been trying to think of like a better way to redo like my social media strategy and stuff like that. But I mean, I got a lot of stuff done. I got character designs done. I got a couple scripts like halfway written, and I actually made a little bit of money
Oh,
once. I made like $150 last week, which I mean, once again, isn't much, but it is definitely a huge step up above last time, where like I'm barely doing anything,
right.
and it was good. But I think the most interesting thing that happened last week was, I mentioned before that I gave a lesson at a church, a couple
Right.
weeks ago on the show. So they're assigning me to be a ward missionary,
Okay.
which kind of sort of means that my job is to do the same thing that Mormon missionaries do, except like I'm not, I guess, like assigned anywhere. I don't have to report to anyone. I just have to like, well, I do have to report to someone when I actually do something, but like it's kind of like, every so like I think like once a week or something like that, I just have to like go somewhere and like teach someone and show someone the church or invite them to church and stuff like that. Which I mean isn't anything too terribly different, but I mean like gosh, it's such a huge it's so weird because I mean it's like do you remember what I did last podcast, or like last thing I said I was doing last podcast, Diggy?
I honestly don't recall. It was a while ago.
It was the online scamming stuff,
Oh, right, that. Yeah.
and that's like shady, disgusting, like nonsense right there.
Right.
And then even forgetting that, I never told the people in the podcast this because I was keeping it secret. But I had an incident actually a couple weeks before we rebooted this podcast where I ended up assaulting someone that was really close to me.
Yeah, I recall this.
And then it's like it's so strange to me, just this really bizarre turn of events that have happened, where it's like, I think beginning of the year I was just a mess. I was like angry at everything. I was trying to turn myself into a scammer, criminal type person. And now I'm some weird, churchy, Christian, happy go lucky person who still has an issue swearing, but is like, other than that, like a lot more calm and tame.
Huh.
It's weird, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
like, God, I mean, freaking, I think when I first met Iggy, it's like, I think I was barefoot and I was wearing like a freaking poncho, and I had
Yeah.
like a pipe
Yeah.
that had like a little bit of blood on it because I bashed someone in the face with
I don't recall the pipe, but you've told me
it.
about it.
Yeah, and it's like, it's weird. It's so freaking weird. But anyway, that was the week, and then it kind of ended with me just watching the news with the whole nonsense that went down in Charlottesville, and I don't really want to make any like major political statements because overall the situation is just sad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad that we have fighting and stuff, obviously, but then it's also sad that we now apparently live in a society where people think it's okay to walk down the street with frickin' swastikas donned on them.
Yeah, I don't know what. First off, the thing that I mean, the thing I'll say about it is, it's weird to me that like the biggest like bigots adorn themselves with the symbols of the most failed military regimes in Western history, like the Confederate Army and the Nazis, both of which failed hilariously. The entire world was basically against them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, well, the thing is for me though, is it's like I kind of look at these people and stuff like that, and this is gonna sound really strange, but it's kind of true though. Go look at the Charlottesville protesters, for instance, and I don't mean the actual like the non neo-Nazi type people who are there to actually just protest the removal of the statue. I mean like the people who are like actually having the Nazi stuff, the people who surrounded Richard Spencer and stuff like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you look at them, they're all under 30.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And it's like what it is they're not.
Well, I think part of it's also that anybody over the age of 30 has the sense to realize that even if they are a vehement racist, maybe don't go to a heavily publicized event wearing
Oh,
swastikas
absolutely.
and stuff. Like, that's
Absolutely.
why the
Well,
Klan wears hoods, because they don't, even if their
yeah.
employer is down with their stuff, no one is, if,
No one else is gonna accept this crap. I mean, it's like they're
yeah,
pretty much.
no. Even if like they
It's
agree with them, it's like they like, in terms of publicity and like political everything, they can't keep them in their life. You can't hang out with someone who's
no. I'm with
like
you there.
publicly racist.
I'm with you, and it's like, it's. I don't know. Like, the whole thing. I mean, like, I could go on to what I was going to say, but like, once again, the whole thing is just sad that people now think it's okay to just walk around with freaking a symbol that killed. I can't remember the exact death count of like
6
Holocaust.
million something. Like
6
the exact,
million
I don't know the
something?
exact number, but it's somewhere around 6 million. Mostly Jewish, a lot of minorities, a lot of Romani folks as well, which is my lineage. So take that one a little personally.
That surprised me, and it's also just foolish to be doing that in general. Because like, if these guys, like, hear all the time, oh my gosh, we need to protect white culture, we need to protect ourselves from the Muslims, from the blacks, from the this, and that. But they're like they're supporting a man who killed more whites than Muslims ever have.
Exactly.
They never have a good excuse for that. But that's not what I wanted to say. What I wanted to say is, like, you look at the age of these kids. I don't want to call them kids, but like, you look at the age of these people, I should say. They're almost always college age. Every single one of them. In fact, I need to stop calling them kids because they're adults. But
Yeah.
the person who ended up mowing a car into that group of protesters, 20 years old.
Yeah.
20 years old. Like, he was young. And another thing that kind of really stuck out to me is, it's like, in school, he was always quiet. He was always reserved. He was always just kind of like, from everything that's come out, it's kind of like he's been like lost, so to speak. Maybe not necessarily lost, but I'd say, maybe confused. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. Well, so, like, one of the things that, one of the reasons why you're seeing this, like, weird uptick of, like, just, teenagers and, like, 20-year-olds being, like, racist assholes is, it's kind of like the same thing that, Hitler did in the fucking,
Well, the thing that I notice more than anything is that more than the actual out and out like neo-Nazis and what have you, a big chunk of it, like I'd almost say a majority, are people who don't actually agree with any of it. But I think the best example was, there was this dude who was like at a march like that, and a bunch of black guys came at him about to beat the crap out of him. So he ran around a corner and ripped off the shirt he had that had a swastika on it. And
Idiot.
like, just was like, and then a dude with his camera phone walked over to him, like shirtless, and he's just like, dude, what's going on? And he's just like, oh, I just think, like, I don't know, I just like being able to say like Heil Hitler and stuff. Like, I really like the idea of offending people, and really that's it. And that's the thing.
Pretty much. That's part of it.
That's the thing to me, is like, while there is a fine line between ironically racist and racist, it doesn't matter, because if you're being ironically
being an
racist,
asshole,
you're doing
and
racist stuff. So in the end, it doesn't really matter why you're doing it, because it has the same effect on everyone but yourself.
I agree with you, and that kind of applies to what I was going to say. One of the things I wanted to, one of the things that this whole Charlottesville thing kind of just made me realize, and that it's, Hayao Miyazaki said a very, I think, inspiring quote, and that quote goes, animation means creating a fictional world, and that world soothes the soul of the harsh edges of reality. Look at these 16-year-old, 20-year-old, 25-year-old quote unquote neo Nazis walking around. Very few of them really understand what the hell they're doing.
Of course not.
Of course not,
A lot of them
exactly.
don't even realize you don't realize that there are a lot of people who don't believe that the Holocaust even actually happened. To them, it's something they've seen in movies and stuff. So to them, it's not a real thing, and it can't impact them the way that someone who lived in an era where it actually happened.
Exactly.
Could.
And I feel that as for me, who's an artist, so to speak, obviously all art is escapism. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, anyone who denies that is kind of just BSing themselves. I mean, I guess, technically all art is whatever it is, but the most successful art is some type of escapism. Like, people look at that to just escape the BS of their regular life and kind of just delve into this thing. But I think that art as well can, I think it can inspire people. I mean, obviously it can inspire people, but I think that kind of like, I don't know. How do I say this? I really wish I prepared what I was going to say before this podcast. Outside of a couple notes, but it's like, look at the crap on YouTube right now, for instance. Look at the biggest YouTubers out there. You have PewDiePie, who we've talked about on the show before.
Yeah.
Kind of just mindless humor, drivel, whatever.
Quote unquote humor.
Quote unquote humor, yeah, exactly. But you see, one of the biggest things to me is that there's a new guy called Jake Paul. And
yeah, I know this guy.
Okay. So the same Saturday of Charlottesville, I kind of looked up to him because, like, I knew a lot of kids were inspired by this Jake Paul kid. And I was like, let's see what this kid's doing. And I listened to his song, It's Everyday, Bro. And if you want to listen to something that will make you want to kill yourself the second you turn that shit on, oh, God.
Yeah,
just listen to that.
So the thing is, Jake Paul, his brother Logan, I know a little better because Logan Paul was big on Vine. But I know Jake Paul through the osmosis of that. And another dude on Vine, Drew Gooden, who was actually one of the funnier people on there, he makes a lot of, not a lot, he makes, vlogs every now and then now, which are him just basically, pointing out the ridiculousness of some things. And one of them he made more recently was, for some reason, big YouTubers now all think that they need to be musicians as well. And so it's Jake Paul's music sucks. And that's the thing, is that he's able to pay good producers. So they're able to adjust his singing and stuff to be on key and all that, but it's still garbage. It's pointless
garbage lyrics
nonsense. It's nonsense lyrics himself. And the tone of his voice sounds terrible because just being on key isn't enough. You have to have a pleasant tone.
Oh, I am with you there. There's actually, I really wish this was last week because I actually had a URL of the video ready to link up to you to listen to live. But it is the worst fucking thing I've ever listened to. And the fact that there is a massive, massive, massive generation of children that are being inspired by some asshole who thought it was a good idea to make a song all about how him and Team 10 are the best, fuck everyone else but us, with rhymes that go along the lines of, yo, I'm a good rapper, but no, I'm not from Compton. What the fuck is this bullshit? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's the other cream of the crop YouTubers right now that are really good? Very few. Very few that are uploading on a regular basis.
Yeah. No, but there's not specific names that come to mind. Because it's really just subcategories of just Let's Plays, React videos, unboxings, just Twitch streams re-uploaded.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so you have this massive, massive, massive just person influencing kids. So you have Jake Paul.
Right.
You have racists like Richard Spencer and a whole bunch of other people influencing kids.
Yeah. And
Which, I mean,
PewDiePie,
I don't wanna-
which again, it's like, whether he's racist or not, he's like making it like his fans are mostly like 12 years old, like on
12 years
average.
old,
So
exactly.
they're
They
not going to
don't
understand the difference
understand.
between him being ironically racist to be funny and him just being racist. And to them, they're just like, hey, the guy I like thinks this. I agree with him.
Pretty much. In fact, I once actually babysat a couple kids, and I remember specifically. I took a gander at their YouTube history, and you know what? These 8-year-old kids were looking at fucking white supremacist videos.
God.
Like, it's disgusting, isn't it?
Very, yeah.
It's disgusting. And the other thing is it's like, I kind of sort of, I didn't want to dig too much into it because I'm not their parents. I'm not the one who I think is responsible to have this discussion with some 8-year-olds. But it's in like, you kind of sort of talk to them, and it's like you figure out that, my God, they actually believe this shit.
Well, I'd say at least tell the parents they're watching that, because, like, who knows if they
their
know?
parents that they need to pay better attention to what their kids are watching.
Yeah.
Whether or not they did, I don't know. And I kind of doubt it, honestly. I kind of doubt it with a lot of parents, and it's because, like, it's this new thing. It's this new field that, like, no one really understands outside of the people who are making content for the internet. And then probably, like, kids and millennials, which is something that right now most parents aren't.
Yeah.
And I seriously hope there are no kid parents out there. But
There's a few, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure there are. But I actually live right down the street from a school for pregnant teenagers and stuff like that. So
Wow.
yeah, it's sad. It happens, but anyway, that's not my point. My point is that if I really want to make an impact on this, like you need to play their game and not necessarily be a racist, horrible YouTuber that's advocating for like white supremacy and destroying of the SJW nemesis or whatever the fuck is big these days. But like, just make content and actually be out there, because I've noticed that like there's this stupid idea I see with everyone out there where it's like, yeah, man, we need to stop Jake Paul and these horrible people, and we need to stop these Nazi YouTubers. And then all they do is just get in the fucking comments section and start like rambling about like how horrible it is. Doesn't do shit. Doesn't do jack shit. What does shit is if you actually put your content out there and do something. And for someone like me who wants to do something better with his art and make the world better, this whole Charlottesville thing, big ass wake up call.
Yeah.
And then the following week, I didn't do anything because I was too busy being glued to the news and how horrible that shit is.
Yeah. I've
So,
honestly
anyway.
not been keeping too abreast of it, but you can't avoid it.
Yeah, it's a mess. That's all I will say about that. And it's a mess regardless of what side you're on. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
So,
your turn.
yeah, so we had 2 weeks here. So, first week, I said I was going to do 80 orders with the new way that I'm recording it. I had 172. So that's 92 more than I figured. But like I said, I figured I'd get at least 100 with the way I was going to be counting it. But yeah, it ended up being a very good week. So this last week, which I'm only counting Monday through today, so I'm actually 2 days shy of what I had with the last week. But I ended up, I put my goal at 150, and I only got 132. So that's about 18 shy of what I wanted. But that's fine. It all evens out. So the Let's Plays were the thing that I was really trying to get done, and I ended up getting about 50. No. About an hour of Let's Plays recorded with 2 games, but there were issues. So I recorded with Open Broadcast software because it's free, and I recorded to MKV because it kind of encourages you not to do MP4 because if there's like if your computer crashes or there's a power outage, the file's just gone.
Right.
So I did that. Adobe Premiere does not accept MKV because apparently it's like Matryoshka video, so it's like
Matryoshka?
yeah, I guess it's like actually like a Russian codec.
It's the first time I heard of that codec. Jeez.
Apparently, yeah. So yeah, Premiere won't use it. I tried to use Cloud Convert, which is a website, to change it to MP4. Spent like hours, like 2 hours letting it upload, and then it told me the file's too big.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have very bad experience with Cloud Convert.
Yeah. So instead what I did was I recorded it with VLC because if you don't know this, VLC is actually a very robust program. Like it's free, but like there's a record option so you can like stream videos through it and then just record them to an MP4. And so I did this. I played the files with VLC and I record them. I put them into Premiere and they were 1,000+ frames per second. And it sped it up like crazy. I don't know what happened, but it was useless. So I adjusted the speed to about 3%. I think it was like 2.91, and that was pretty close, but it was still off.
Right.
Then I had to Google around because CS6, which is what I had before, it just had a tool to change the... excuse me. It had a tool so that you could just do time stretch, which is all I needed to do.
Yep.
Took me a long time to figure out how to find that in Creative Cloud. I watched like 5 different YouTube videos before someone was finally like, just push R and then you have the rate tool. Thank you. That's all I needed. So I did it. Eventually I got it pretty close. It's not perfect, but whatever. They're up on my YouTube now. Go watch them. I'm not going to do any better with them because like that's the closest I'm going to get on the sync with those. I'm just going to record it to MP4 next time, and if I lose one, oh well, it's better than dealing with this nonsense.
Hey, whatever works.
The Sound of Goosebumps, the Goosebumps audiobook series that I'm doing, is going pretty good. It was on track, but then I missed a day without realizing it, and then when I recorded chapter 12... with my new mixer that I'll talk about in a second, I didn't realize that the input was wrong, so it recorded at a super low quality. It sounded like I was recording from like a phone call. So I was like, I'll re-record that eventually, but for now, no. So today I re-recorded it. Sounds fine. I got the hang of this mixer now, but yeah, so I kind of took a break from that for a couple days, but back on track now. The thing I just said, though, I have a new mixer. It's a Behringer Xenix Q802 USB, which is like 1/2 step below the 1202, which is the actual like professional level one. This one's still kind of low end, but it's a lot better than the one I had. 8-track mixer, and I actually have it set up with a mix minus, which basically means I've looped my phone in for like sound effects and music. I have my mic in, and then I have a cable running from the headphone output on my computer into the line input, and then I have a cable leading off for the auxiliary output back into the mic output, and then I have the auxiliary volume turned up on everything but my computer, which means that you can hear everything's being recorded except for Skype, which is exactly what it needs to be. And it kind of skips out on the USB altogether, which I prefer because USB is not that great.
Right.
I prefer to go all analog. But that's just me personally. So it has a finicky thing where every time I restart my computer, I got to switch the input from the USB over to the other, but it's still always the analog one, regardless of which one I have selected in my default in the actual like control panel, but whatever. I have a handle on it.
I mean, like...
Yeah, it's a lot better. These preamps are a lot more professional, and it actually feels like an actual piece of equipment I should be using, being that this is my job.
Right.
Yeah, I plan on getting a better one eventually, and some other things. New mic eventually. I definitely want to get a new mic stand because this boom arm is okay, but it can't handle any more weight than my mic, and it's cheap enough that I'm actually worried that it's gonna like fall apart, and I want to get a stronger stand just for like the security of not worrying that my mic is just
Not
gonna
worrying it's
flop
gonna-
onto the floor. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on with that. So anyways, let's move on to our weeks with total money made from projects since last episode. Now, this is about 2 weeks since our last episode,
Yeah.
but I have made 1,100 even, and I have 440 active. So once that gets completed, that will become part of that. So I'm doing
Not
pretty well for myself. That was my goal. That's like basically over 2 weeks I'll have that. So that was originally my goal for a month. So I'm doing pretty well compared to my original projections.
That's not bad. I mean, it's that's more than the minimum wage job you had previously, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I was making about 1,400 a month, and now I'm making about $3,000. I don't know how steady they'll stay because again, I've only been on Fiverr since like April, so it's only been like 4 months, and I don't know, anything could happen. But right now, I'm just saving what I can, and I still have to figure out taxes and stuff because that's going to be coming
a
up.
really good artist I respect. His name's David Cho, and yeah, I might have talked about him on the podcast because I fucking love him. But he once talked about what it is to like, be an artist, where it's, like he mentions that, a lot of people have stable income. They have job security. They have social security. No, us artists, we don't have that shit. We don't have that shit. Save every fucking penny you can, because instead of having it be like a rainy day, it is rainy days. There will be storms and floods, and if you're not prepared, you will suffer.
Oh yeah, I remember and I'll count this as my business focus because I didn't really have one yet, but more or less, when I was in high school, I did a senior project, which is in Washington State, where I'm from. They have you do a senior project where it's basically you pick a profession that you want to do, which is fine, I guess. I don't know. It's the stupid, like, what do you want to do when you grow up thing. But then you have
Did
to, like,
anyone
study
pick male
it.
stripper?
No.
I
I
want
believe...
to pick male stripper.
I feel like at least one person is now, but, I haven't been keeping up with my high school class. But the idea is that you just, like, research it and you do a research paper on that profession. I did it on 2 different things because I kind of switched over halfway through. My original thing was comic creator, which I didn't actually complete because there were no resources for it that I could find. Then I switched over to screenwriter, which I found a bunch of books on that, and one thing that stuck with me is if you want to be in screenwriting or anything movie related, and this applies to pretty much anybody creative, you want to save at least 6 months of like just full living. Just like however much, half a year, however much you'll need for rent, food, like everything for 6 months. You want to have that saved at all times because you never know. And that's pretty much what I'm working on right now, is just like trying to save up for that and to make sure that I'm not going to get like completely hosed by taxes when that comes around.
Mm-hmm.
Most places are saying save like 30% to be safe, so I'm going off of that.
Well, it kind of reminds me of something that happened with who's the person who played Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad? Aaron Paul?
Yes, Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul. Okay, yeah. So he actually he happened to be in a rare circumstance where he did like this one commercial, and he was able to like just get paid like an entire year. Because what happened is he did a commercial for fucking Juicy Fruit, right? But he was lucky in the sense that there was no actual dialogue in that commercial that he said anyway. So what happens when it gets redubbed into other countries, like I think every fucking country on Earth, he got paid for it. And he spent like an entire year being like, yeah, I don't have to work, I don't have to do anything, yeah. But what kind of ended up happening is eventually, like, when that cash flow stopped, he was so used to like not doing anything that eventually it kind of like struck him in the face, like, oh shit, I gotta get a fucking job, man. Like, I
Yeah.
gotta get my new job and stuff. But you see, like, it kind of also reminds me, though, at the same time, of people who don't realize, like, oh crap, I need to, like, get myself in order because I'm screwed. Um, I'm trying to think of a good example of, like, an actor. But, I mean, think of, like, every freaking musician out there that, starts off being, like, big god, rock star, billionaire, I'm able to do anything I want, and they
Yeah.
go completely broke.
Exactly. MC Hammer was a good
I was
example.
gonna
He had the
name
one
MC
hit.
Hammer because I love his example. Like, he went from being like richest man on the block to broke, bankrupt, and I don't even think he makes any money off of being MC Hammer anymore.
No, not really. The thing, kind of on the flip side, with sport, like, uh, NFL players and stuff, it becomes, like, part of it is, like, yeah, they don't think ahead very well, but another part of it is I read an article where they're like, yeah, once you become a pro athlete, everybody comes out of the woodwork looking for money. Everybody. And it just
Oh yeah,
becomes a constant struggle to hang on to your money. And the thing is, if you're a sports athlete, you probably have like a good 10 years in you, if you're lucky, being a pro athlete and making that kind of money. So the ones who are like, I'm going to have a giant house and Lamborghini, it's like, you should stop because you should be saving that and
you know,
you'll have
yeah,
all
you
that
should.
money for a long time because the idea is you get paid millions to last you your entire life after you're no good at sports anymore. That's why you get paid so much, is to last you your entire life.
Well, you're right, and it kind of reminds me of it was either Shaq or it was someone else, but like day one of them being a sports superstar, they get their first paycheck and then they blow it on like a Lamborghini. And particularly, they blew it on two Lamborghinis. Like it was
Wow.
nuts. But luckily, this particular, in fact, I think it was Shaq actually. Luckily, his agent called. His agent was like, "Shaq, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what the actual fuck?" And Shaq was like, "I don't know. I'm just having fun with my money, man." And the agent was like, "No, no, 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 no. You save your money because you don't want to go into financial ruin like every other athlete on the planet."
Yeah.
And that kind of stuck with Shaq. And even like he's one of the few athletes I can actually like name. I'm sure there's a bunch more, but he's one of the few that was able to just make some really wise investments with their money and is still making a shit ton of money even after they retire, type thing, because of the stuff they invested in, as opposed to just blowing all their money on the Lamborghini, the bling, the this, the that, the mansion, like MC Hammer did.
Yeah, exactly.
And it kind of makes me feel bad for the this new generation of like esports athletes. Like, I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah, they're not going to hang
these
on
kids,
to any of that.
that they don't, and it's like they're going to be in the job market in a couple years.
Yeah,
and
because
it's
that's
gonna
the
be
thing is,
really
they
bad.
unlike like sports athletes, it's like sports athletes eventually, they're going to be out of their prime and then they're useless because everybody, all the athletes who are like 20, 22, 24, prime physical condition are just always going to be better than somebody who's in like their 30s. So eventually you're just not going to be good enough to compete anymore. That happens to esports athletes. They seem to think that that's not going to happen, but your reflexes go. Eventually, you're just not going to be as good at what you're doing, and you're not going to be
That's
able to
true.
do it anywhere near as competitively as you were.
That's
So
true.
they're just
What I
on the
find
verge of
even
that.
more, what I find even more sad though, is actual athletes have the very least of having a decent resume when they retire.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll lose all their money, but they can easily get a better job because being an actual athlete, that means hey, you have some obvious skills to you.
Yeah, and you
You
can
know?
be like a commentator and stuff. Like that's what Shaq does now. Is he's a
Yep.
sportscaster.
And I mean, I guess you could do the same with being like a professional gamer, but I mean, just imagine how shitty it's going to be. Like, you are some 30-year-old esports professional Street Fighter player or whatever. And, it comes to a point where I'm not going to say due to age, because fighting games are a little bit different than most esports, but like, let's say due to skill, or, let's say something happens to like your brain or whatever, and like you're just not able to function as fast, like, have issues reading things, you don't have issues just reacting. you're gonna go into the job market, and the only thing on your resume for like the past 10 years is gonna be I played Street Fighter, and no one's gonna fucking hire you.
Yeah, anytime I
No
meet
one.
somebody, because being in like the nerdy circles that I'm in, I meet so many people who are like, yeah, I'm like a pro Smash Brothers player, or I'm like a pro. God, the one I hear all the time is I'm a pro Magic the Gathering player, and it's like, first off, you're living with your parent because you do like 2 tournaments a year, and even if you win those, that's like a couple grand each. Maybe if it's not even high profile enough to be worthwhile. And it's like, man, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Speaking of esports, actually, the Game Grumps finally, the trailer, I believe it's the 24th, the trailer for their YouTube Red show that they made with Dan Harmon called Good Game is coming out, and it looks hilarious.
I haven't even seen the trailer for it yet, but I hear it.
It's
Like,
on
when
their.
I first heard about it, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of was thinking, this sounds okay, but like it's YouTube Red. I
YouTube
don't
Red's
know,
actually, I mean, like, obviously, like, PewDiePie gets scared was fucking stupid. Because it was literally like, it's scare
It was
tactics, but it's to
stupid
one
crap.
guy who knows that he's going to be scared. So it's PewDiePie just kind of awkwardly, like, it kind of like
Screaming.
nervously laughing to himself because he knows that it's all fake. And it's just like all these other people like
pretty
trying
precious.
all these other people trying their hardest to like do their best acting job, but it's like, you guys aren't gonna actually scare him in any way. But then like this people who actually make stuff like College Humor, they had Bad Internet, which is like, it's like a comedic Black Mirror like sci-fi anthology series, and that was really funny because College Humor actually makes scripted funny content. And so with Good Game, it looks like it's going to be good because it's just a Dan Harmon sitcom that also stars the Game Grumps.
Oh, so the Game Grumps didn't actually write it. It's just Dan.
Well, I mean,
Harmon?
they definitely wrote it. Like, you can tell, like, it's their kind of humor, but it's like they were just part of the writing team. You know, so it was like it was a whole team. It's
sounds
a
good
full
to me.
production.
Sounds good to me, and I'm sure it's better than most other YouTube-related Star TV shows, whatever. God, it kind of reminds me of like when Smosh the movie came out. Apparently, they had
Yeah.
actual writers on that, not just Smosh.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'll give this the benefit of the doubt. Let's give it a go. And then I watched like the first 30 minutes, and I was like, oh God, fuck.
Well, okay, I watched it because it was on Netflix and I was bored. And, I mean, honestly, it's Smosh. They're like,
Smosh, and
they're like, they're marketed and they're like, they appeal to like 12-year-olds. And that's the thing is like, it's competent. It's well enough made that like, if I was 12 back when I liked Smosh, I would have loved it. It would have been great. But the thing is, it's just not actually that good. And then like halfway through, they kind of run out of ideas and just start using the same jokes over again.
So it's just like Smosh, the YouTube series, then.
Yeah, basically. Like, it's fine if you're, 12 and like Smosh, which is pretty
12,
much the Venn diagram is just a circle on that one.
It's kind of off topic, but it kind of reminds me. A couple nights ago, I started watching some of the Pokemon movies again for like the first time since I was a kid, and I saw the third one, and I was like, it's okay. It's not really that good, but like I don't really care about any of these characters, and it's just mildly entertaining.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, let's see if my 8-year-old like self and my memories of the fourth one are any better. And I watched that thing, and like I've never seen a movie that makes you not care as much as this one. And I was like fucking upset as shit because I was like, I remember this being amazing.
I know, that's the thing is like, you watch it and you're like, this is so pointless. Because we know, first off, it's in the past, so we know everything's basically going to work out fine. It's the same problem prequels have, where it's like, whoa, no, are they going to die? It's like, well, we know they're in the other 5 movies in the series that come after this one chronologically, so they're probably going to be okay. There's no tension. And then it's like even the end like twist where it's like, oh, that kid they were hanging out with was child Professor Oak. So does that matter? Does that really mean anything? Not
Wait, that
really.
was what happened in that fucking movie?
It's
Holy
just
shit, I don't
fan
remember
service.
that. I turned off the movie when I was watching it the other night because I was like, this is somehow the most boring thing I've ever watched.
Yeah, they reveal it over the credits that, oh, that kid they were hanging out with the whole time, that's just Professor Oak as a child. But
As
it's
a
like,
child in
that
the
doesn't mean
future.
anything. That's literally just like fanfic, fan service. It's like, oh, okay, I guess he was Professor Oak.
Well, that's what this whole movie seemed like it was to me. I mean, even from the very beginning, where like you have that main villain just throw a pokeball and like it's like there's no. It's like it has the biggest issue. So it has the biggest issue of instead of like showing you like how bad or how cool something is, just telling you how cool something is.
Yeah.
Like, instead of getting tension over this fucking like dark ball that turns everything like evil and destructive and horrible. Instead, the
Evil.
guy's just like, yeah, this is the dark ball. It turns Pokemon evil.
Oh no.
Oh no, the Tyranitar. It's evil now, and it's big, and it is using Fire Blast.
It's big, and it's not good. It's not good
not
at all.
Good. And what pisses me off though about this is kind of off topic for the podcast, but I'll get into why this is kind of important to me later. Outside the fact I'm a fucking nerd,
Yeah.
it's like I was watching this and I was thinking to myself like, okay, you had this really kind of cool universe set up, right? Just a really cool fictional place. It could be some. I don't want to say magical. But there's a lot of really cool shit you could do. I mean, you have these fucking monsters and stuff running around that go into, like, just these weird, like, pocket ball things. And I was like, okay, you could do some pretty cool shit with this. But then it's like, they don't do cool shit with it. Instead, it's kind of like, imagine watching, like, a fucking Spider-Man movie. And instead of Spider-Man, like, doing something cool, it's always like, hey, I can do this really cool thing, and then he doesn't fucking do it.
So like Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Exactly like Amazing Spider-Man 2. That movie was bullshit, by the way.
If I magnetize my web shooters, then he can't zap them. So maybe just that doesn't matter now. Great. So now he's still gonna electrocute the crap out of you. And Gwen Stacy's dead. Oh my god, you mean Gwen Stacy, his girlfriend who dies in the comics, is dead?
Oh no, how shocking. I can't. Oh, the drama of being told exactly the same shit that we knew was going to happen.
I gotta tell you, on the note of Spider-Man, I've seen all but Spider-Man 3 in theaters, as far as the Spider-Man movies go, and I saw Spider-Man Homecoming in theaters recently. It was really good. Like, for once, they were like...
It's really good. I just haven't seen it yet.
For once, they were just like, hey, why would we need to do the origin story? What human being alive doesn't know how Spider-Man happened? Like, they just kind of, like, mention, like, oh yeah, I got bit by a spider. And, like, that's it. Like, it's not an origin story. Thank you. We don't need to see another origin story. Plus, he already got introduced in Captain America Civil War, this version of Spider-Man, so...
Hey, I mean, it kind of reminds me. I have a girl I'm friends with, and she was like rambling on and on. Like all of a sudden, she's texting me like nonstop about like Marvel, like out of the blue. And I was like, "What gives? What made you like so into Marvel?" And she's like, "Oh, I saw Spider-Man: Homecoming, and that was the first Spider-Man movie I've ever seen, and that was fucking amazing."
It was really good.
So I need to pick that up.
I'd say
pick that up. I mean, go on the Pirate Bay and get myself a copy because. I ain't paying $20 for movie ticket. Fuck that shit.
Oh yeah, no, I don't blame you. I did because I'm making enough money now, and I really like Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. So I see, like I said, all but Spider-Man 3 in theaters. And the only reason I didn't see Spider-Man 3 is because I didn't have my own money, and I wasn't living near a theater at the time. So
right.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Right. But yeah, the same thing for me when Spider-Man 3 came out.
But yeah, Spider-Man.
I was in middle school and I lived in the sticks.
Spider-Man Homecoming has... The only problem it has is that it's part of the MCU. And it's like, that would have been cool 10 years ago when, like, Iron Man was coming out and the MCU was like this big, actually cool thing. But after the Avengers, the original Avengers came out, it's just kind of lame. And the worst parts of Spider-Man Homecoming were like the MCU parts. The fact that it's like Tony Stark keeps showing up and is all up in there because he's like his mentor.
They're just trying to cross promote everything. They're not trying to be cool. They're just trying to be all like, hey, you like Spider-Man? Well, you can also like Iron Man because they're in the same universe.
And like they made like Aunt May hot for some reason, and like everybody's turned on, like coming onto her constantly, and I don't know who decided that. Like, it's a weird choice. I'm not down with it. I don't know. And then like she's in like her late 30s, early 40s now, rather than like super old. And Spider-Man is, for the first time, it's not like, oh, he's like 17, he's in his 20s. It's like, no, he's 15. Tom Holland is like the youngest Spider-Man, and he's like looks the most like this. He looks like, even in the costume, he looks like this scrawny kid. Like, if you look at him for more than a couple seconds, you're like, that doesn't even look like a superhero. That just looks like a skinny kid in like a Spider-Man outfit, and that's what he's supposed to be. But yeah, like, I don't know, the cinematography is so bland because the MCU is like the Starbucks of movies now, where it's like, cut, dry, get it out there. It's to a standard. It's technically proficient, you show a conversation, you show shot, reverse shot. So it's like, there's nothing interesting. There's interesting things to look at, but they're not presented in an interesting way.
Oh, I get that. But you want to know one of the reasons why I'm theorizing they're doing this so fucking much? It's to make Fox and Sony and everyone else just give the rights to like the other Marvel properties. Like,
oh yeah, the only one they don't have, the only ones they don't have are Wolverine.
I know they don't have Fantastic
like
Four.
X-Men.
They don't have Wolverine. They don't have X-Men. They don't have Deadpool. But
well, I mean,
Fantastic
Marvel and Disney are gonna take Fantastic Four back because they've never been happy with what has happened with Fantastic Four. And in fact,
I understand
Fantastic
that.
Four is over as a comic. Did you know that?
Well, yeah, so that's another thing Disney's doing, is they're actually making Marvel just stop making, at the very least, slow down production of like certain comics in order to just stop.
Well, no, it's like
production of these
Fantastic
films
Four
and stuff like that.
Fantastic Four literally has been out of print since 2015. They just stopped. It doesn't exist anymore as a comic. And it hasn't in like 2 years now, and nobody noticed because Fantastic Four kind of sucks. And that's why the movies have always sucked.
It fucking does.
I never even saw this most recent one. I was literally working in a movie theater, could have went to see the last Fantastic Four for free at any time, and I decided not to because it just looked so garbage.
It reminds me when I was a kid and my dad, they had a fucking like Fantastic Four movie commercial pop up, and my dad was like, "Man, one reason I liked Fantastic Four as a kid is when Thing goes, it's clobbering time."
Yeah,
like everything else sucks.
Which was even kind of stupid because, like, in the Fantastic Four movie, it's like Johnny Storm made a Thing doll that would say that, and then Ben was just like pissed off that he did that. And then later, when it's like the actual climactic battle, he decides to actually say that. Like, it's a badass line. It's like, you were literally making fun of that like half an hour ago. What happened?
This whole thing is like it's off topic, but it's reminding me. Do you remember when you used to install fucking QuickTime on your computer, and then they would always have the fucking Fantastic Four as like the preview?
No, I never really used QuickTime, so I didn't know that.
Well, that was exactly what it was. Every fucking time, and even as a kid, I knew that the Fantastic Four movie sucked. I was like, oh god, it's gonna suck. And every time you install QuickTime, I see the fucking Thing, and I see this advertisement being like, hey, check out this really good movie. And I'm like, no!
It's so bad.
And I'd have like nerd rage at like age 8 years old.
You know what that reminds me of, though? For a while, before I realized VLC could download YouTube videos, I used this program.
Even knew VLC could download YouTube videos.
Yeah, if you go to VLC, go up to File and click Stream, and then just copy-paste the YouTube video, it will play through VLC, and then all you have to do is hit record, and it will turn it into an MP4. You got to play it all the way through, obviously. Like, it's kind of like doing it to a VHS, so if you skip around or pause, it'll mess up the recording. So all that. But yeah, you can do that.
It's pretty
And you
cool.
can do screen capture with it too. Like VLC is actually awesome, but I used a thing called video download capture. It probably gave whatever computer I was using at the time all the viruses. It was so sketchy.
It sounds sketchy by the name alone.
But they had a bunch of like links to YouTube. Like they always, no matter how many times I re-downloaded it, they had the same like 4 YouTube videos like as suggestions for what to download. And one of them was like Niga Higa, like a music video he did. One was like some SpongeBob like clip, and one was the like a music video for the song that was promoting the movie Beastly.
What?
You remember that movie where it was like when Twilight came out, so it was like Twilight but with Beauty and the Beast.
I remember that now. That was not a good movie.
Never saw it. It looked so terrible. Like even Twilight wasn't
and
good,
that's
so
why
a
no one
knockoff of
remembers
that.
it.
Why would I bother?
Why was Beastly there of all fucking things?
I have no idea. And it was there like even like years after Beastly came out, and nobody remembered it. That it was still there, so I don't know why.
That is fucking bizarre as shit. Like, wow. Anyway.
Yeah, so we're very off track now, but let's go on to new projects.
Like
I don't really
every
have
other episode we get off track.
Yeah, I don't have any new projects of my own, but Christian, it looks like you got a couple here.
Yeah, so I mentioned the last podcast I was doing. I was thinking of doing like a little fucking comic of like me and my shitty, weird ass adventures playing Pokemon, except have it not be a comedy, but have it be more like, here is literally me and the bullshit that I'm like going through as I'm playing this. And I mentioned before that it's a maybe because I didn't want to like step on anyone's toes as far as copyright goes and stuff like that. And so what happened is after that podcast, I actually did a bunch of research, not on fair use. Well, obviously on fair use. But in particular, I did a lot of research on like the kind of projects that the Pokemon Company and Nintendo were targeting in particular. And obviously fan games were a no-go. And I understand completely like fan games are a no-go. Nintendo and the Game Freak, all these, they were fucking video game companies, and you make like a fan game, people are going to go play the fucking fan game instead of buying their game. Like, I understand that. I mean, it sucks for the people who make these fan games and put in like hours and sometimes years making that. In fact, I think it was some fan game like a Pokemon Uranium. Have you heard of that?
I mean, I've heard of a few.
This was one that was like big, like even like new, like it was supposed to win. I think it was supposed to win like best fan game creation at like the DICE Awards or some shit like that. But the team spent like 6 years on it, and they release it, and people are playing it for a little bit, and then Nintendo shuts them down, which is a big slap to the face. But I understand entirely why they do this, because they're losing money. So as far as me making a fucking comic of this shit goes, hey, dog, shush. But anyway, as far as me making a comic of this goes, I looked into it and I'm thinking to myself, okay, cool. So this is going to be different. I should be good as far as copyright goes. I'm going to go ahead and fucking make it. And I was actually going to have the first issue out this week, but I kind of sort of never got around to it because I was too busy watching Nazis on the news.
Yep.
So, which was a fun way to spend the week. But, yeah, no, I'm going to do it. And it's going to be fun. And it will be 24 pages of nonsense a week. So, there's that. And, you know, the other thing that I want to do as far as new projects go is it may sound necessarily new, but, you know, after the whole Charlottesville thing, like, as I mentioned earlier, it kind of got me thinking, like, you know, I need to get my shit just up. Not necessarily as fast as possible, just get this shit going. Because, like, what the fuck have I been doing every time I'm in this podcast? Oh, I'm going to do this next week. I'm going to do this. Like, no, do this shit now. set a deadline for myself, get things going. So I'm gonna say probably late September, maybe October. Have at least something on my YouTube going. I don't care what it is, just have something. And then also because I want to do like esports and shit, and just make like a weird documentary type thing out of it. In Fort Wayne on the 3rd of next month, they're having the very first Pokemon tournament. So I'm going to be going to that.
Okay.
So, yep. I get to be around a whole bunch of sweaty nerds who do nothing but go online and write fan fiction. It should be very fun.
As always.
As always.
So let's skip the business focus this week because we're running a little bit long. And we already kind of talked about quite a bit. So let's move on to our goals for the week. So I'm going to say 150 orders again, which I would have hit this last week, but like I said, I was only measuring Monday through Friday. So with the 2 extra days, I'm sure I would have nailed it. So I'm going to say 150. I'm going to say 1 week of Let's Plays recorded, which is...
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do them one a day, so that's like something like an hour or so, or like a couple hours. So just got to do it now that I have a better pipeline to actually record them. And I need to get back to stretching, because that's pretty much the only exercise I do, and I've slacked off on it. But just like stretching in the morning, that's pretty much the most I get, because I pretty much just do voiceover and stuff, and it's really been taking a toll on me getting no exercise. So
kind of reminds me, I actually almost chopped my hand off this morning. Because,
wow!
I wake up on the couch in this living room, and the fan's on. Fan's going pretty freaking fast too.
Oh.
And it was like 5 a.m. I was like, I put my arms up, and I'm like, stretch. And next thing you know, it's just... And I'm like, oh God, my hand, what the fuck? And like, I look down and like, I pull my hand down and it's like bleeding, like all over the place. And then I look up at the fan that's like now just not necessarily broken, but it's going like really slow because something just stopped it.
Right.
And I was like,
wobbling a little bit.
Well, what scares me, if it would just up, like if my hand was just down a little bit more, that would have been like right at the joint.
Yeah, that probably could have like at the least dislocated your hand.
Yeah, it would have been bad, and I would have been recording this podcast from the hospital tonight.
Which hand was it?
It was my right hand.
Are you right-handed?
Yes, I am.
Oh, can't lose that one. That's like
I would have to learn to write with my left or be a fucking weirdo and draw with my mouth.
Yeah, that's like my brother. He's like a classical guitarist, and he's amazing. But the thing is, like, we constantly joke about how if he ever loses either of his hands, he's screwed.
It's true. I mean, like, it's kind of scary to me just thinking about losing like one of my arms or my hands or something like that. Because I mean, like, I know people survive without them, but it's not every day that they're artists, and it's not every day that they're like trying to do something like, oh, I want to go to video game tournaments and play or something like that. Like, think of like any video game you could probably name. You probably need 2 hands to play that shit. Like, unless you have some weird special controller where you can use your feet.
Unless it's like Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. You can play it one-handed.
Oh, you're right.
Which it was designed specifically for reasons you can probably guess.
Specifically for, and let me tell you, the controls of that game feel great.
I guess motion controls you could play one-handed.
Motion controls.
Like Wii Sports or the newer Mario Karts.
Or Dead or Alive Extreme.
Yeah. I just got the new Mario Kart. It's interesting. I tried playing 200cc, which is like the 4th difficulty it has now. It's so fast. I can't handle it.
I still need to get myself a fucking Switch. I mean, obviously I don't have the cash for it on hand, but like, I'm gonna be going to like some party or some shit at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of thinking to me like, it would be so cool if like I had a Switch and I just like bring that thing out with like a couple Joy-Cons or something, and then it's like
Get Mario Kart and get Overcooked. Overcooked is like this cooking game you play on there. Everybody just needs one Joy-Con, and it's just the most fun to do
it
multiplayer.
looks fun. I want to Switch. I don't have the freaking money for it on the shit is ending next week because weekly goals for me are at least $2,000 dues in the bank because
Okay.
let me tell you right now, I'm selling something for $25.
That's
I'm
something.
cold calling people.
Good.
And 25 times 40, that is $2,000 right there.
Yeah, that's math.
So that is completely fucking doable in a week. Just get the right clients, sell to them, and make them a happy customer.
Right.
You can definitely do that. And then with that money, get myself a Switch and just get myself some better equipment and stuff for me to do the shit that I want to do.
Oh, and get
then
Sonic
obviously,
Mania. That shit's fucking fun, and it's only $20.
It is $20. It's 20. I actually got it on PC, but that got fucking delayed.
Yeah, it's the thing that got me. So, okay, it's basically like a remix of like every classic Sonic game up through like Sonic R. One of the like bonus stages in it is basically Sonic R.
Right.
And the thing that got me is like second world you play is Chemical Plant Zone. And it's updated. There's more things that you probably couldn't have done, on the Genesis, and it's like 60 FPS and stuff. So all that.
Right.
The Eggman battle, Chemical Plant Zone 2.
It's fucking Dr. Robotnik's mean bean machine.
I know, that was crazy, because like that to me, I mean, all that game is just like an Americanized Puyo Puyo Pop, but it's like, I played that game all the time as a kid, and I actually have it like in here right now, the original one, and it was like, you just drop in next to Eggman in these like capsules, and it's like, there's rectangles to either side. Why are there rectangles? And then the beans start dropping, and I was like, it's the
I know,
thing!
dude, I saw gameplay of that, and I was like, holy shit!
That was amazing. I was not expecting it. I easily won that battle because that game is...
Yeah, so do you know about the development team behind that game?
No.
So actually, this thing, I'm sure you probably already know this, but Sonic Team isn't responsible for this game.
Really?
They're not. Who's responsible for this is a bunch of Sonic fan game creators.
Oh.
And stuff like that. I mean, obviously you have Christian Whitehead, who, made, I shouldn't say made, but like he ported a bunch of, Sonic games to like iPhone and stuff like that.
Right,
But
I saw that.
He started off as a fucking Sonic fan game creator.
Okay. So it's like a Toby Fox with his Earthbound ROM hack thing.
Yeah, kind of like that, but in this case, it's like they're making like an actual fucking Sonic game now.
Yeah.
And what's so scary to me is that it's like, this is, from everything I've seen, what Sonic 4 should have been.
It is. It really is, because it's everything great about the old Sonics with new stuff.
Exactly, and not only that, but it's like, I think in an interview, Christian Whitehead said that like him and his team, it's like they're imagining that they were making like Sonic 4 for the Sega Saturn or some shit. And
it's like Sonic.
It too.
It's like Sonic CD 2.
Yeah, it looks great, and I want to play it, but I don't have a fucking Switch play on. I mean, granted, I do have a PS4, but like I already got it on PC. I have to wait like a couple days, or I could just cave and get myself a PS4 version. I don't know. know. I'll find out because I've been wanting to play this shit for a while.
It's so worth it. It's so worth it.
It's so good. I want it.
So, let's move on to our goals for the quarter. Mine, now that I have the new mic, the new mixer, and the audio treatment, the only thing I need for my setup upgrade is another better new mic, but that's gonna wait probably till the end of September, if even that. And my goal for next quarter is probably gonna be actually making the booth, because that's the next step to actually having professional sound and not having to deal with this tiny closet The thing, honestly, I'm making enough. I'm looking at actually just getting like a used whisper room, cause like used they're only like $1,000, and like if I save up, I could probably buy one, and that would be a lot less work, and it would be a lot, better put together.
Right.
But yeah, that, and gonna release the EP. As I continue to say, I have not gotten any work done on it, but now that I have the new mixer, I can probably get some stuff done on it.
Hey, it's
So
okay. We've both been in projects for the past like 3 years. We've known each other. We're like, they keep saying shit's gonna get done, then never fucking gets done.
yeah.
So anyway, anything else?
No. So what are your quarter goals?
Oh, I'm gonna add an addition to this quarter goals. Like normally I say, oh, get myself in order. Which I mean, yeah, true. I agree there. But due to changes of both my own personal philosophy and now the fact that I am a weird Latter-day Saint ward missionary, which is like, I mean, I'm fine with that because I get to have the opportunity to like inspire people and help people. That's cool, but like it's so weird and bizarre. I kind of told myself like, okay, so I currently live at my parents' house, and I keep saying I'm gonna move out, but like, I think now is the time to really do that because that's just not a good image, no matter who you are. I mean, it's really not. Like, God, it's not. Imagine if someone introduced themselves to you and said, "I am a super successful this. I live at my parents' house."
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good thing. And then I also have my YouTube shit. I already told you, late September, early October, end of discussion. I can do this shit. And get myself in shape, whatever. I've been working on that. Not as hard as I should be, but I have been doing that. And, yeah, I think that's it. So.
Okay. And then future projects. Mine's actually an older project that I want to revisit at some point in the future, which is MLGopolis. It was this idea I had for like a dystopian cyberpunk future based around just like montage parody, like smoke weed every day, friggin' Mountain Dew and Doritos, friggin'
Should be a
360,
secret, like
360
no
no scope
Sonic
nonsense.
Mania level. Or some shit like that.
Yeah, the thing is, I wanted to do it basically like what like the Homestuck kind of setup, where it's just like I basically open it up to poll, and it's just to a poll, and it's just like you like it's like this is where you are. What do you want to do? And then I'll take whatever response I like, and then go with that, and then just like draw out a new panel for each thing.
You did this once, like
I didn't.
A couple years ago.
The reason it didn't work is because I didn't use art for it, because I didn't feel like drawing, and that's the reason that it didn't really catch on. I feel like I feel like the writing was fine and it was fun and it was going decently, but yeah, to do it well, I'm gonna need to actually draw for it, and that's gonna be a whole other thing. But yeah, I plan to get back to this in the future.
In time, I can do art and shit for it.
Yeah.
I mean, assume a decent time and I can cooperate.
Yeah, we pretty much like set it up and just make like a 4chan thread in a QST, their quest thing, which is basically that kind of stuff. And just we do it in like, I don't know, we just set up a window where it'd be like I'd be writing and you'd draw stuff, and then we'd post it.
Drawing stupid shit. Okay, sweet. I will have to keep in touch with that, because that would be fucking awesome to see that shit rebooted, because that was an amazing idea when you did it like 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it died. And then it like just died. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. It just nobody would contribute, and that just kind of sucked.
It's 4chan. It didn't have any cute anime titties.
Basically,
Pictures.
So let's move on to the final note of the show, which is our moral of the episode. Christian, do you have a moral for us?
Yes. If you're gonna give a speech on how something changed your life, prepare first before you open your mouth, because let me tell you, the part of the podcast this week where I talked about my week and an update on everything was horribly done. And like I haven't even listened to it yet, but like I know it just kind of like dragged on and on and on. And this could have been solved if I did a little more preparation prior. Instead, I was preparing for a talk I have to give on church on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, no, I really should have prepared. So it kind of reminds me of something my stepdad tells me. Prior planning includes piss poor performance.
Yup.
So, yep. Anyway, your turn.
For me, the moral is just take care of yourself. I need to, actually take better care of my voice and just body because I kind of need this for my job and I just don't warm up enough or do, exercise as much as I can and I eat just garbage food, so I just need to take better care of myself. And so should you, anyone listening. That's the moral. Just respect yourself.
There's actually a really good book you should all check out called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And it's about this guy. He had extreme depression. His life was a complete wreck. I think he was just ill. Not like ill as in oh, I'm going to die, but just mentally ill. Like he had a whole bunch of issues. His wife left him. He was about to get evicted from his apartment, shit like that.
Right.
And he hated himself. He hated himself until he just said, look in the mirror, and he was like, okay, I love myself. And he was like, but I still hate myself. No, I love myself. 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 And he ended up just telling himself this for 6 weeks straight, nonstop, in the shower. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. When he's brushing his teeth, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. And then eventually what happened is he ended up finally actually liking himself. And the second he liked himself, he realized, okay, I like myself. I deserve to be treating myself better than this. So he got his shit in order. He started actually working out and stuff like that. Not because, he likes working out, but because he liked himself and he didn't want himself to get, morbidly obese and die of, some weird illness at, age 40.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's a good book. I'll check it out.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Okay, well, that'll do it for the show this week. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Our Road to Success is a Just Fall production, created under a Creative Commons Attribution and Share-alike license. This means you can use any part of the show in any way you like, as long as you credit Iggy Kid, Christian Hansen, and Just Fall Productions, and make your product just as accessible. You can find Iggy Kid on Twitter at DapperJackery or on Fiverr at fiverr.com/IggyDKid. You can find Christian Hansen on Twitter at ChrisHansen1994 or on Instagram at Instagram.com/ChristianHansen1994. Our Road to Success can be found on Twitter at OR2SPodcast, on Facebook at Facebook.com/Our Road to Success Show, through email at OurRoadToSuccessShow@gmail.com, or on SoundCloud at SoundCloud.com/OR2SPodcast. That's it for this week on Our Road to Success. Remember that everyone has their own road. We know you'll find yours. Happy trails!